So what is going on, guys? NanoPrince93 here with another video, and as most of you guys know, if you guys have been at home watching all these new tech videos that have been released, iPadOS 13.4 for everybody, for the public, was released today, and it's actually out already. I got the notification on my phone and on the iPad, but I had the beta edition, so the GM or the Grandmaster, Goldmaster edition, whichever was the latest one, and I've been playing around with this new mouse support, guys. Got myself a Magic TrackPad 2. And I got obviously my iPad 2018 over here. I'm getting the 2020 iPad. It's supposed to arrive tomorrow. Got the 11-inch just to do a quick comparison to see if it's really worth to upgrade it if you already have an iPad Pro. But today I want to walk you guys through the ins and outs. Think of this as like your ultimate guide for trackpad and mouse support on iPadOS. If you guys have been following me for a while, like my most viewed video on my channel is how to maximize mouse support on an iPad Pro, which I released over the summer, I believe it is. And that's back when it was like in its infancy and it was still an accessibility feature. So this is gonna be a nice revamp. So this is gonna be nice to kind of show you guys all the features that the trackpad adds to iPad and gives you just a brand new device almost, it feels like. So it's kind of like you've been revitalized with an already fun device. It's become that much more fun. So let's hop right into it, and I'm gonna start with a little something that hopefully brings you guys back.
How about 7 o'clock tonight? And I can just say, sounds great. And I've got this little keyboard, which is phenomenal. It does error prevention and correction. Not that I won't make some, I probably will. But it's actually really fast to type on. It's faster than all these little plastic keyboards on all these smartphones. So I can just say, sounds great. And there it is. Right? It's that simple.
So first and foremost, guys, what I do want to talk to you guys about is how to actually connect one of these guys. So I purchased this off of Amazon. It was about $120, I want to say. The black one was like $150. Wanted to go with the black one, but decided just to get the regular white one because I will be getting the Magic Keyboard when it comes out. And all I had to do, this is the first time I've ever owned an Apple like trackpad accessory like this. So all I had to do was plug it into power for the first time via Lightning, and then just flip this switch on from red to green. And then it pops up into your settings menu, and it connects just as a regular device. As you guys can see, if you go into Bluetooth, it is right here, Magic TrackPad 2, and just connect it like a normal Bluetooth device, and then you're all set to go. So as you guys can see, this is the new mouse support. It's not a classic pointer like you would see on a regular Mac desktop or a Windows desktop. It is this circular, kind of transparent, translucent pointer, which kind of imitates the tip of your finger, and that's what Apple, I'm sure, really wanted to do. They wanted to make sure that the Apple as a touch-first device wasn't lost, and that's why they went with this as opposed to a normal, point and click, because it just wouldn't seem native when working with an iPad. Another nice little thing that I want to touch on is to actually wake up the iPad. You can click on or move around on the actual trackpad itself. Face ID unlocks it by itself. You click again or swipe up, and you're into the system, which is again really nice. So it's very hands-free from the actual screen itself. And again, since this is, an iPad and it's been known to, not be a regular computer, obviously Apple had to do the mouse support a little bit differently, right? Before, you guys remember accessibility, it was literally just imitating as if you're pointing with your finger. But now with this mouse controller, this mouse feature or mouse support, it's a little bit different, right? So it's a dynamic pointer. So if you guys kind of see what I just showed you with Steve Jobs kind of texting on the first ever iPhone and texting for the first time, you guys can see that was the first introduction we had into like error correction and kind of the device anticipating what you're going to do before you do it. And I think that's what they kind of use, that same mentality when it came to this pointer, right? So if you hover just around, you can see that there's a trackpad or there's a pointer. And if you hover over an application, it kind of enlarges that application and gets sucked right into it. So Apple wanted to keep that, that physics idea when it came to the software, right? So as you get closer, it gets sucked right in, and there's the app that you want to use, right? And it does this throughout the system, at least for the native apps currently. And I'm sure Apple's going to release API or whatever it is, SDK, for developers to play with this and incorporate this into their third-party applications. But for now, it works really well within Apple applications. So obviously, if you go down, the settings menu kind of wiggles open. And then if you go on this half of the screen, you can scroll like you normally would on a Mac desktop. This side of the screen, same thing. And then if you guys go into any, if you guys go deeper into a settings menu, right? Maybe go into date and time. If you hover over certain parts of the application, so if you go over general, it just takes over that entire piece because that's the piece that you're going towards. There's nothing else really around there that you would need to click on, so it just takes it over and takes you back. And it does this with other aspects of the actual system itself, right? So if you hover over the top right where the battery and the Wi-Fi connector is, you click it, you get control center. If you go over to the time, you get your notification center, and again, just swipe up to get out of these settings. And just to kind of elaborate on that, so I have the TrackPad, which iPadOS 13.4 has been most optimized for. So to go home, it's just a quick swipe up with 3 fingers, right? But I was using my MX Anywhere S2, and that feature was kind of weird because there was no way to swipe up, right? So what you would do is you would hover down, go to where the home bar is, and just click on the home bar. So it's almost like you have a virtual home button, and you can see, if you look real closely, the pointer kind of gets sucked right into the entire home bar, and again, all you do is click and you go home. And another awesome thing is that now there's right-click capability, right? So if you have a normal mouse or even a trackpad like this, if you click on the right side of the screen on a normal operating system, a normal one, you get the menu, right? The select menu. So it works the same way here. If you hover over App Store and left click, which for me is 2 fingers on this trackpad, it gives you quick options, right? And you can do the same thing when it comes to text. So these are my notes for the actual video right now. You can highlight, and if you double click or right click, the normal like edit buttons come up that you would expect when you right click. And then another thing is how to access your dock when you're in, if you want to multitask, for instance, right? So let's say I'm in Safari, all you do is, it's kind of like a force movement, and this works for both mouse and trackpads, is you kind of just swipe down quickly. Like if you just hover down here and just put it down there, it won't work. You have to like flick, so it works off of a resistance, and they're trying to keep the physics in there so it feels natural. So if you flick down, so if you try again, flick down, then it comes up. If you just put your mouse kind of by the bottom, then nothing's gonna happen. You gotta flick down for it to pop up, and then let's say I wanna open up my mail app, move it over to the side, and boom. So that's why it makes a trackpad that much better than I think a mouse, especially when you have the gestures that come around, because the Magic Mouse works with some gestures, but I think the trackpad is the way to go, especially because, again, Apple is making the iPad Pro to work with a trackpad. Another thing to take into account is when you're in split view, same thing applies to anything within the UI. So normally to make the apps bigger or smaller, you go into this normal part, into this middle part, and you drag it over to the size that you want. Now with the mouse pad, it gets sucked into that middle part and you just move it however you would want to move it. Same concept. So again, it just makes it easier for you to be with a mouse, like for you to use a trackpad, and you don't have to be super precise to get things done. It like knows what you want to do as you get closer to the things that you want to do. So 2-finger scrolling works the same as it would on a Mac. You know, swipe up, swipe down with 2 fingers. If you swipe to the right or to the left, it brings you back or forward to a page. Swipe up with 3 fingers, it brings you home. Swipe up and hold with 3 fingers, multitasking, right? So it's something that's very familiar to everybody because everybody has iPhones, everybody has iPads, and swipe functionalities on the screen are what's being carried over onto the trackpad. And then another one that's really, really convenient is the 3 swipe to the right and to the left, which is your app switcher essentially, right? You can just switch through all of your apps right here. And again, swipe up and to the right, or swipe up and hold it there, you get multitasking again. And then another thing is that when you want to bring out the slide overview, right, to get that third application, it works the same way as your dock does. So if you forcefully go down, your dock pops up. If you forcefully go to the right, your other window goes up. And if you swipe up with 3, then you're here, right? And then same thing again, you just swipe all the way to the right of the screen and your slide over goes away. And then that's, from a functionality standpoint, that's what you're getting with this mouse pad. It's just another way to interact with the device. So now you have the pencil, finger, keyboard, and a trackpad, which I think is what's going to make iPads, you know, kind of just take over this like mobile computing space. And then just a couple settings options that I kind of want to walk you guys through. If you go to General, then go into Trackpad, you can change the tracking speed, which I like to keep it at normal. Natural scrolling means you can invert the way you scroll with your fingers up and down. You can do tap to click, which I'm going to turn on because I've been missing that feature. So what that means is, obviously, you don't have to press on the screen for it to tap. You can just tap and it goes away. But now if I try to tap, it's not clicking it. I got to click it, right? And then 2-finger secondary click is what I told you guys to bring up that select menu. And then lastly, the last thing that you guys should take into account when it comes to the mouse settings is if you go back into accessibility and turn on pointer control, then it allows you to kind of change the look of the actual pointer, right? So you can change the pointer size, drag it all the way to make it gigantic. I like to keep it as small as possible so it's kind of not in my face. You can increase the contrast of the actual circle. So if you guys can see, it's pretty white there. If I turn it off, it's a little dim. You can't really tell the difference, but I kind of just keep it off. You can automatically hide the pointer so you guys can see if I don't touch it, it'll go away eventually. Boom, it's gone. And you can also change the colors. So I can make it blue, green, orange, and I can make the outside of it really small. So it's a lot easier. This is good for like presentations, I think, right? And again, you can see that it's taking over as I go back. Trackpad inertia, it's that physics that I kind of told you about, where as you move over stuff up, like the faster you move into actions, the more it knows that you want to get into that action. And then obviously you have the scroll speed. So Apple adding mouse support to the iPad is probably the biggest game changer or biggest update we've seen in terms of what it means for the iPad moving forward, right? Obviously iPad 2020 came out. I don't think it's going to be worth the buy, especially for the average person, because this thing is already a workhorse. But again, I'll review it like I said, but this does kind of put the iPad into this weird what's a computer situation, which is what I've been telling you guys on this channel since I started. Like, the iPad is the future of what people are going to be doing moving forward, because it's very, very portable, very easy to use. It's user friendly. It's more fun to use than a normal computer. And like I said, it's going to get better and better. So this is Apple kind of bridging that gap between desktop, phone, and this like mobile laptop workstation situation, which I think that's what everything's going to happen. Like if I was in a position where iPad and MacBook Air are the same price, which is what it is right now, I'm going with the iPad 10 times out of 10. So that's gonna do it for this video. Next up, I am gonna have a video explaining how I get rid of black bars on a secondary monitor. I know you guys really want to see that, but I want to make sure I get the explanation correct because it's not perfect. You know, it looks good, but it's not a perfect option. So again, that's gonna do it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, guys. Peace.